So I'm doing a quick review on the Canon RP. This is the latest entry by Canon into the mirrorless market. This is their low-end entry camera, and right now it's retailing for $999.99, $300 below their opening value on this camera. If you're looking for small and compact size, this is a great way to go. This is the smallest camera in Canon's DSLR or mirrorless lineup, and you can see it here paired with the 24-70 RF 2.8. The design idea behind the mirrorless camera is that you lose the shutter, so that allows for quieter operation and the ability to slide the camera lens back towards the sensor for better quality photos. As you can see here, there's no adapter for the EF lenses, which comes paired with this camera right now currently for free. If you purchase this later, it could potentially become an additional add-on, and they currently sell for about $99. Canon put the 26.2 CMOS sensor in here, which allows for fast and quick autofocus. It also comes with the Digix 8 processor, and it allows 4K video with the latest firmware update. The first thing I like about this camera that's new to me is the LCD screen, and there's three things I like about that. The first thing I like is the touch and select autofocus, and you can also drag the autofocus around. Now you can turn this on to just the half the screen and use your thumb as you are shooting with the camera. Works out great. The second thing about the screen I like is the ability to flip it around. So now, as you can see here, if you're shooting video or vlogging, you can see what you were shooting in that camera at the time. All right, the third thing I like is the ability to shoot low, because I can turn this LCD screen over, and now I can see what I am shooting from the ground without having to get low to the ground. It just makes it, as I get older, a lot more comfortable to take pictures. All right, the second thing I like about this camera is if you have used the Canon EOSs in the past, the button layout is very familiar to you. I used to own the 6D. Once I bought this camera, I sold that, and I own the Canon 7D Mark II. The button layout is very familiar. There's no new multifunction bars in the Canon EOS S. When comparing the two, when I was trying to make the decision to purchase, it wasn't a price point decision for me. It was truly the layout of the buttons that made the difference to me. As far as the technology goes, comparing the Canon EOS RP to the Canon EOS R, yes, there are a number of things that are a little bit better, such as the sensor, or the frame rate, or the fact that it's water sealed. But I can talk about each of those separately. So let's talk about the comparisons. For the majority of us, we are not going to notice a difference in the sensor quality unless we start pixel peeping. And what pixel peeping is when you really zoom in. But the print quality or the quality of sharing it on Facebook or Instagram, nobody is going to see the difference if you own the Canon EOS R or the Canon EOS RP. I've seen some fantastic photos on Instagram that are shot with really low-end cameras. So sensor-wise, not a big difference for the average user between the R and the RP. All right, the weather sealing. I understand that if you've read anything about the R or the RP, you will see that this says it is not weather sealed while the Canon EOS R is. But there's also articles out there where Canon admits that this is weather sealed to the same quality as the Canon 6D Mark II. And that is done through the plastic overlaying each other and preventing the water to go through the camera. Now, should you take this camera out in a pouring rainstorm? Probably not. But I live in Alaska and I've shot with it in snow, in cold weather, in warm weather, and I've never had an issue with it. If you are concerned, there's a number of things you can do, like I bought a plastic case that goes around this that I can slide my hands to, and it just prevents the elements from getting to the camera. Overall, though, I would not say that weather sealing is a major concern for the majority. We are not typically going to go shooting heavy downpours or heavy rain, so I think this camera will work for the average consumer. So the biggest debate or the biggest knock this camera gets from a lot of people is the frames per second. It can only shoot 3 frames per second, and so people say it's not a sports photography or an action photography camera, that it's really only for portrait photography. I disagree with that. I own the 7D Mark II, and that camera can shoot at 10 frames per second. But I still slow that down in the settings to the slower continuous shoot mode, because the autofocus I find is better when I slow the camera down. So, is 3 frames per second ideal? No. But when you are shooting action sports, there's a couple things you want. A fast shutter speed, and this camera can shoot at 1/4000th of a second. So instead of getting 5 shots per second, you are getting 3. But the autofocus is keeping up, you have a fast shutter speed, and the ISO and low light is outstanding in this camera. So for indoor sports without a flash, it's a great camera. Will you capture every move of the kick? No, but most people don't need that. You can get great shots for what you're trying to do of shoot your daughter or son playing a soccer game or playing a football game with this camera. Spend the money on the glass and not the camera for most people. The Canon EOS R is almost double the price, but a Canon RP can do the exact same work. Just put a better lens on it. So to answer the question in this quick review, is this camera worth it? Absolutely. It is worth the $999 right now. It's worth more than that. And with the fact that you get the EF adapter to go with the camera so you don't have to run to the store and spend thousands of dollars on the RF lenses, again, makes the camera worth it. It will do everything the average photographer wants to get done. And as a hobbyist photographer, I can tell you, you do not need to jump to a $5,000 camera to get great photos. You can do it with this $999 camera out of Canon, and when you pair it with a great lens, you will get fantastic photos. Don't worry about it. Go ahead and click buy. Go ahead and make the purchase. Get the Canon RP if you want. All right, I appreciate you watching the review of the Canon EOS RP, and as always, I ask if you find this review helpful, please let me know down below.